Let's be real for a second. We all suffer. It's just part of being human. And from the moment we're born, we're basically taught that suffering is bad, that we should run from it. But what if that's all wrong? What if our whole idea of happiness is based on a total misunderstanding of how our brains actually work? So let me just ask you this. Are we supposed to be happy all the time? I mean, our culture is screaming yes at us 24/7. Chase joy, avoid pain, buy this, do that. But is that really what we're built for? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to start in what might seem like a weird place. Section 1, Why We Suffer. Yeah, instead of running away from the problem, we're going to turn around and look it straight in the eye. Think about it. We're conditioned to see suffering as this big, scary monster. It's an enemy that we have to defeat, and if we're feeling it, it must mean we're failing at life. But that constant battle, it's exhausting, and ironically, it's one of the main reasons we're so unhappy.
But here's where things get really interesting. This quote suggests a totally different path. What if we've been looking at it all backwards? What if suffering isn't the enemy? What if it's more like a friend, trying to give us a heads up about something important?
Okay, this next part, this is the real aha moment. This is where it all starts to click. To really get a handle on suffering, we have to understand the organ that's actually creating it, our brain. And you might be surprised by what its main job really is. All right, here it is, the big secret. Your brain was not designed to make you happy. Nope, it was designed to keep you alive. Happiness is a fantastic bonus for sure, but survival is the prime directive hardwired into us over millions of years. Just picture our ancestors out on the savannah, right? Who do you think made it? The chill guy just enjoying the sunset? Or the jumpy, anxious one who heard a twig snap and immediately thought saber-toothed tiger? It was the worried one, the vigilant one. And guess what? We are their direct descendants. We've literally inherited their anxious brains. Neuropsychologist Dr. Rick Hansen has this brilliant metaphor that just nails this negativity bias. He says the brain is like Velcro for bad experiences and a Teflon pan for good ones. Isn't that spot on? The bad stuff just sticks, while the good stuff just slides right off. And that's exactly why one single criticism can totally ruin your day, while a dozen compliments just kind of fade away. This isn't a personal flaw. It's a feature, not a bug of your survival software. Your brain is a world-class threat detector, not a joy appreciation station. So we've established our brains are wired for survival. Got it. But how does that programming actually create that day-to-day feeling of suffering? Well, it turns out it operates through 3 powerful and pretty much insatiable desires. First, there's the desire to get. If I just get that new job, then I'll be happy. Then the desire to avoid. I really hope I don't have to deal with that awkward conversation. And finally, the big one, the desire to control. Why can't things just go the way I want them to? See how each one yanks you right out of the present moment and into a state of struggle? And when you follow these desires over and over again, you're basically creating highways in your brain. It's like walking across a grassy field. The first time, it's kind of tough, but do it every single day, and pretty soon, you've got a worn-in dirt path. That's exactly what happens with our negative thoughts. They become the default path, the easy route for our brain to take. So this survival brain, it basically traps us in this timeline of misery. We suffer in the past by replaying old hurts. We suffer in the present by overreacting to things with that fight or flight instinct. And we suffer about the future by constantly worrying about what we don't have. Man, it really can feel like there's no way out. But, and this is a big but, it doesn't have to be that way. There is an escape hatch. Now that we understand the problem, let's flip the script and talk about the solution. Because here's the good news. The science shows us that a surprising amount of this is actually within our control. It comes down to this really simple-looking formula researchers came up with. Happiness, or H, equals S plus C plus V. Okay, what on earth does that mean? Let's break it down. All right, so S is your genetic set point. That's the baseline happiness you were just born with. It's about half the pie, 50%. C is your life conditions, your age, your health, how much money you make. And get this, that's only about 10%. But V, that stands for your voluntary activities, the stuff you choose to do, and that accounts for a massive 40%. 40%. Just let that number sink in for a second. 40. We can't change our genes, and changing our big life circumstances is often incredibly difficult. But nearly half of our happiness comes down to our choices. This is where our power is. So what are these voluntary activities? Well, They're not some big secret. It's the stuff we can actually do. Things like practicing mindfulness, getting some exercise, really investing in our friendships, having hobbies we love, practicing gratitude, working toward goals that actually mean something to us. These are the tools we can use to start carving new, happier paths in our brain.
So let's bring this all home. We've seen why our brain is basically a little suffering machine, but we've also seen where we have the real power to change our own experience.
And it all comes back to this one huge idea. The fight ends when you stop fighting. The moment you really get that suffering isn't some personal failing, it's just your ancient brain trying to keep you safe, you can drop the boxing gloves. You can stop treating it like an enemy and start listening to it like a messenger. And that one shift in perspective, it changes everything. The fear of suffering becomes an understanding of it. That feeling of failure transforms into a sense of agency, and that constant, exhausting struggle turns into a real path for growth. We stop asking, why am I suffering? And we start asking, okay, what is this trying to teach me? And that's the final thought I want to leave you with. Look, this isn't about getting rid of suffering entirely. That's impossible. It's about changing our relationship with it. So what if getting closer to your suffering, understanding its roots right there in your own biology, is actually the most direct path to finding peace?